Blog Talk Radio.
Your balls are showing.
There are two types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. You know, dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls down there? That's the biggest berry you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, what time of these balls all day?
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 of the Big Balls Fantasy Football Show. I'm your co-host, Greg REIFSTECK, and we might as well just bring him right out onto the line. Your other co-host, Neil, PROST, GOFORTH. You there, Neil?
Yes, I am. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good this evening, man. Bears, Packers, mano-a-mano matchup. You excited or what?
I am already set. Got the TV on. I've got my usual Packer attire on. You know the Lions are up front. They're wearing the cheese heads. It's time to go.
Yeah, he has these two lions out in front of his townhouse that look like the lions that are in front of the Art Institute in Chicago. So I always think of that when I walk up to your apartment. So I don't know why your townhouse makes me feel like Chicago did.
Oh, it's just the wealthy put them on by their gates to their home, and so there they sit by the front door. There was $7 at Target. What do you want?
Exactly. Recapping week 1 of fantasy football and discussing how many teams do we make good decisions on, or do we screw up? The only way to learn anything is from anyone else's mistakes, of course. We're going to give you the waiver wire wackiness, our segment where we're going to talk about if you're a waiver wire wacko or not, which I was guilty of last week. And we're going to give you the balls to the wall injury report, the condensed version, after Neil thought last week's was a little bit too long. And, of course, we're going to discuss tonight's game. And we actually have 2 callers waiting on the line right now after I get done with all of this stuff. Yes, we do, Neil. We actually have 2 callers on the line. They're unfortunately Bears fans, since you couldn't come up with any Packer fans. So
not that at home at this hour. Packer fans have jobs, dude, except for one who's on injured reserve. So, yeah, sorry.
Well, if you're listening online, you can join us on the phone line at 646-716-7132. You can also listen to us streaming on there if you can't call in and listen to us online. You can also tweet us at BigBallsFBall. That's BigBallsFBall. We now are up to 3,400 followers strong on there, and you will get from Neil and I up-to-the-minute fantasy news, analysis, and our usual wise-ass commentary on games and injury updates as they happen. You can also find us and like us at our fan site, facebook.com/BigBallsFantasyFootball, or just type in Big Balls Fantasy Football. Facebook knows us by now, right, Neil?
That would do it.
So I've been wondering this, and we'll get through this really quick. We're the Big Balls Fantasy Football. Are you the left ball or the right ball?
I would be the right ball because I'm right. That's all there is to it.
I'm not politically left, but what the hell? I'll be different and be the left ball. Why not? I'll be unique. I'll be different. We got that.
Everyone gives their right nut for things. No one gives a left nut for anything. So I guess we'll see how that works. So
how'd you do? How'd your this week? Your around your leagues. How did your teams do?
I only wound up going 3-5. However, I did beat the defending champion in our track ball, so that's a feather in my cap. I had the biggest blowout in one of my leagues. They award silly prizes now on the side for no particular reason. And I also, in one of my losses, I was the prize loser. The guy that scores the most points would have beaten the rest of the league had he not played the one person that outscored him.
I hate when that happens.
No. Yeah, that's the joys of head-to-head leagues.
I had the wonderful sensation of going 1-3, and the reason I lost in the other two was there's nothing worse than actually in one of the leagues I actually put up 100 points and then still lost. So that's always rewarding, as you know, when you rack up enough points to possibly win, and then, of course, somebody has to go crazy and score 140 because they decided to pick up Peyton Manning and for some reason had C.J. Spiller playing as their flex player.
Oh, what are the odds of that? That's
exactly.
balls. We got to get that guy for a caller.
Exactly. That was a big time on the ball scale. Well, without any, they're waiting on the line, and we'll go to ladies first. Waiting at Tin Horn Flats, the Bears Bar of Burbank. JENILEE, are you there? Hello? Hello? I guess she isn't on there yet. Or I guess she hung up. Well, then let's try the other one. Kashif, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, how's it going, dude? Live from Dallas, Texas, right?
That's correct. In the town of Frisco, Texas. Live from Frisco, Texas. It's Cash Khan, maybe the biggest Bears fan, at least in Texas. And in response to a comment earlier, I will say that Bears fans, true Bears fans, have priorities, and they make time for the Bears and to talk about the Bears. And, so there's no such thing as work when it comes to the Bears. That's the main focus of tonight, and I'm pumped up about this game tonight.
Thanks for calling, man. Of course, Cash is a old friend of mine from high school, and we grew up watching the Bears in the good old Ditka era, and got to witness the wonderful '85 Bears winning the Super Bowl.
Yep, was there at the parade even, and try to get out to a game maybe actually the year after, and it was a phenomenal year, of course. Not taking a ways back, 86, and considered by not just by Bears fans, but many people around that you come across and talk to, maybe the greatest single playoff team in the history of football. One of them. I know the Packers fan will have something to say. I know that the Steelers fan will have something to say about that. But I'm just saying, that's one of the most memorable teams that has ever played. Not saying that they're best.
Neil, what do you got to say about that?
Oh, there's no discounting the '85 Bears defense that won the Super Bowl in '86 for what it's worth. That is going down as one of the greatest defenses in history outside of Baltimore's D a few years back. I think I see JENILEE on the line. Let's try and get the other. Let's try and gang up on Neil here. JENILEE, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, JENILEE. How's it going there over at the Tin Horn?
Oh, it's good. People have been rolling in since about 3:30 West Coast time, getting ready to beat the Packers.
Yay!
That's a lot of crying and a lot of beers over there.
JENILEE, meet Neil, my co-host, who co-hosts the show with me, the lone Packer fan here in a group of 3 people, and then there's Cash Khan from Dallas, who grew up with me in Chicago, who is a diehard Bears fan like us.
Well, Bears fans are true fans, and we're ready to talk about our team, unlike Packer fans.
Now let's get down to a point I wanted to bring up, and that JENILEE, you have some people on some of your teams that, of course, probably are Packers or from our rival teams, aren't they? Hello?
Court players.
I couldn't hear you. You cut out. Sorry. Could you say that again?
Okay. I said I actually don't have any Packer players on my team, but I have some Detroit players.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it makes it difficult.
Who do you have?
I have Calvin Johnson, and I have Pettigrew.
Now,
and actually picked up Kevin Smith as a running back for last week.
Yeah, he did pretty.
Pettigrew too. Yep.
Yeah, he did pretty good for you, Kevin Smith, didn't he?
He absolutely did. He got me. I'm in a PPR league, and he got me 4 points.
Awesome. Yeah, I was gonna bring him up later on as possibly somebody to pick up off the waiver wire because he did so well. Do you have anybody on any of your teams, Cash, that drive you crazy having to root for him?
Yeah, I happen to have this lame quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. You know, and it just no, all kidding aside. No, he's probably the number one quarterback out there. You know, he had somewhat of an off week last week. Only picked up about 20 points, and if he had done better, I probably would have won. I actually had over 100 points, but I still lost somebody who had 106 or something like that. So, but Aaron Rodgers, I have another one. I have Jordy Nelson, and you know, I've done pretty well with them. But yeah, it is tough to sometimes root for them because they're the enemy, so to speak. But at the same time, at the end of the day, I don't care if they put up 5 touchdowns or get 8 sacks. As long as their team loses, hey, I don't care. As long as the goal is accomplished. What's actually more tougher, to be quite honest, is when you have to root for an opponent like the Packers or the Lions deeper into the season when you're jockeying for position. You know, when you need somebody to lose a game so you have a better chance of either winning a division or for a tiebreaker for a wild card or something to that effect.
Right, I got you, Neil. I know you have some enemies on some of your teams.
Oh yeah, I've got Michael Bush. He's playing tonight, in fact. You know, when it's fantasy football, you've got to go with what's going to get you the points. There's a reality that, yeah, when it comes down to it, I want the Packers to destroy the Bears tonight. Even if they win by 2, that's good enough. It doesn't matter. But it comes down to my fantasy team. Yeah, I mean, you want your guy to perform well as long as in the result your reality team wins the game. I had San Francisco's defense last week against my Packers.
Oh, that must have been rough to watch.
I actually was rooting for Akers. I wanted to see him kick that field goal. It was history, you know?
Yeah. So, generally, tell me more about the mood there. What's going on? Is it getting kind of rowdy over there at the Tin Horn?
It actually is. There is a line forming outside, and people are waiting to get in, the people that don't have tickets already. So I think it's going to be a pretty intense feeling here throughout the whole game.
What's your prediction on the score there? Let's play super fans here.
Well, my prediction on the score, I think that it might turn into a little bit of a shootout, but I don't think we're going to be in the 40s or anything with points. I don't think either team will be that high. So I guess I'm predicting around 28, 21-ish type of game.
Mhm.
Bears, of course.
Bears, of course. So if you let's talk waiver wire stuff. Did you pick up anybody off the waiver wire this week in particular?
Did not, but somebody did that I agree with the person in my job. I kind of think he's a sleeper this week for a PP.
Who is that?
Candidates league.
I'm sorry.
Randall Cobb.
Oh, Randall Cobb, your man.
Yes.
Neil.
Yeah, I would say especially for a PP league that was returning yards. We have the Packers have Jennings that is probably not going to play. Cobb was definitely targeted. Rodgers is going to try to spread out the ball. So I think that he's a great sleeper, and if people need someone on the waiver wire in a deep league, then he's a good pickup.
I couldn't agree with you more. He's on my list. Cash, have you picked up anybody, any crazy waiver people this week?
Looked into it, but I got beaten out because we have waiver rules and all that. But I was looking. I did pick up one person I thought played really well, even though I don't. The offense may be average, but Anthony Hawkins from Cincinnati, little guy, but really is very quick with the ball. Cincinnati wide receiver, and with A.J. Green there, with him being targeted with probably double teams, he's a guy who gets open pretty free very very easily and gets around, similar to like a guy, and I think his last name is Avant in Philadelphia. So he's one guy who I picked up, but there's a couple of them people out there. I would say even I see people pick up Ashton Jeffries, who I think will do pretty well, especially with teams maybe trying to focus on Brandon Marshall. So
definitely. Neil, who are some of your waiver wire picks this week? Who are our Balls waiver wire pickups this week on your list?
Well, I'll touch on it a bit more. I mean, I got, interestingly enough, James Jones going right behind Randall Cobb. I mean, the Packers were coming off the waiver wire left and right, and it's risky because the way to get fantasy points in Green Bay is to be open. And that's where the Aaron Rodgers can put the ball. So your guy that gets you 18 points last week is going to get you 2 this week. That's just the way the fantasy world is. I'm a little bit surprised about Washington Redskins running back flying off the waiver wire. He's a fumble away from Shanahan benching him into Neverland. So I don't understand. I'm not a real big fan of the Week 1 waiver wire. If you drafted that poorly, if you need to switch your guys out that fast, you need to do a bit more research or listen to the experts like us or something. I don't know.
I agree with Neil.
The only guy I do really like, and there's enough statistics and history to back it, is that Ogletree kid in Dallas. He's the number 3 receiver where Laurent Robinson was last year. He's got fragile receiving mates. So that kid might be worth dropping somebody for, especially some guy you grab later on just to fill a roster. But other than that, you shouldn't be losing stars right now.
See, I kind of felt like a waiver wire wacko, as you and I like to coin the term, because his past, the position and that position on that team, stat-wise, has produced, but he is a very up-and-down player and actually has been pretty much down. So I'm putting him in this week as my third-place flex person, but if he might be a complete bust and just be a one-week wonder. So
yes, especially with Week 1, you've got to look at who somebody was playing against. I mean, the Minnesota Vikings secondary can make the slowest old man look brilliant. So be careful jumping all over someone that played Minnesota the week before.
Right.
Good point.
Yeah. Are you still there, JENILEE? Cool. So you said you didn't pick anybody off the waiver wire. Is that because you think your teams are pretty solid out of the box?
I do, and I'm not facing any injuries right now. I think that's another thing why people might jump on the waiver wire is, injuries are going to happen every week, and if they happen to one of your main starters and you don't have a deep bench, then you have to find somebody. But I think the key is having a deep bench. So I was okay in that realm.
Cool. Definitely. I'm going to give the injury report in a minute. So generally, a lot of women are playing fantasy football now. In fact, I looked at some stat. It used to be down around 30%, and now it's actually up to about even 50%. Do you get a lot of crap for playing fantasy football? How long have you been playing?
I've been playing probably 4 to 5 years.
Cool. And what got you into it?
My league actually now, so there's 2 females.
There's 2 females in your league. Cool. And how long have you been? What got you into it? What got you into playing?
Well, I just started. When I was learning more about football than just the basics, I started watching certain players, and one of my friends suggested that I play fantasy, a way to get to know more of the players and understand the game even in a deeper sense.
And so you feel like it feels like it gets you more involved in the game.
Oh, absolutely, because, you're going to watch every team. You're going to watch as many games as possible, pay attention to different defenses and, what they do against the run and what they do against the pass and pass rushing. And, it just gets you involved in every game beyond just rooting for your one team.
Yeah, I know you know your stuff because I sit next to her at Tin Horn, and Louie would sit there and go, all she wants to do is talk fantasy football, and this guy Louie there is a great diehard Bear fan, but he doesn't play fantasy football, so we might as well be speaking Greek when we're talking. He goes, all she does is want to lean in and talk to me about fantasy football, and I have no idea what in the world she's talking about.
He is here today, too.
Oh, I know he is. Well, cool. You guys are more than welcome to stay on and comment, but Neil and I are going to push forward and get on with the injury report and get on with a few more of our waiver wire picks. But I wanted to thank you both for calling up, and maybe Neil, maybe you can actually get some Packer fans to call in for our next Bears-Packer special later.
Yeah, the Packers are more about action than talk, so I don't know how many talkers we're going to get, but I'll see what I can find.
I gotcha. Cool. Do you guys want to hang, or generally I'm sure you want to get in and claim your seat for the games?
Yeah, but I wanted to more small comment. I have to admit that I have Cutler and Rivers as quarterbacks, and I did start Rivers over Cutler.
Really?
So I benched Cutler this week. Yes, I did.
Wow. But why? Was that because of the matchup, or what? Were you afraid of the Packer defense, or what?
Well, it is more so that didn't play very well against San Francisco this week. They have some moves. We play so they know what we're going to do, and Cutler, he is a little bit shaky against Green Bay and tends to throw interceptions, and especially trying to make some of the big plays, he might start to force the ball a little bit. So I thought that Rivers in San Diego against Tennessee was their matchup this week.
Interesting. Neil, I think she has bigger balls than either of us this week.
Phillip Rivers, I live in San Diego, so I got to tell you what, if there's, we expand our experts panel and want to appeal to the female demographic, we got a third panelist here because that's an incredibly ballsy pick and with insight and thought out. I love it. Excellent. Well done.
I love it too. Cool, JENILEE. Thank you for calling in. I'm gonna let you go because I know how crazy it's gonna get in there, and you need to claim your seat.
Absolutely. I'm gonna go, but I really enjoyed being on the show, and thank you for having me. And go Bears.
Go Bears.
Talking to you later. Go Pack. Go.
All right.
Cool. Bye bye. Cash, you're gonna hang for a little while, aren't you? Or,
Oh, absolutely. I can hang for the duration. I just want to give a couple of comments on what JENILEE said. First of all, guys like us, who when I say us, even Neil and I think Greg, you included, we love women who can talk sports. We absolutely love to hang out with them and watch games, and who kind of know a little bit, at least what we're talking about. Some know a lot more, a lot. So we love hanging out with women who know the game and love the game, whether it's football or hockey or basketball, etc. Number two, I actually have Cutler in one of my other league, and I've actually took him over Manning, and it's not because I necessarily think the Bears are going to win tonight, and I'll get to that, but I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well tonight. Not that he's not going to make a mistake or two, but I think he'll have a good night tonight. But at the same time, I think Aaron Rodgers will have a bigger night, and here's what I think about that. This is a must-win for the Packers. They can't lose the first two games at home. They can't afford to lose game to the Bears, and not only that, but personally for Aaron Rodgers, because of the failures of last postseason, especially what they went through after a lot of people, including myself, thought that they would go perfect for the entire season and the playoffs. People have kind of forgotten about him a little bit. From the respect that now we're talking about, RG3, we're talking about Andrew Luck, we're talking about Superman, and just the new quarterbacks, Peyton reemerging, Eli coming off of a great Super Bowl win. So he kind of, the whole double dare thing. He doesn't want to become a double dip, to that in Packerland by having a second back game in a row, which I don't think he'll have. In fact, my prediction my heart wants, of course, the Bears to win something like, 34-27, but I think it could even be something like 41-27 Packers. That's what my football mind says.
What's your prediction on the score, Neil?
It's so hit and miss because the Packers and the Bears play each other so tough. They come out of their butts to play each other because of the rivalry, and it's traditionally not a high-scoring game. But with Cutler's new weapons on offense, it could go back and forth. I was really unimpressed by the fact the Packer defense still makes these ESPN tackles. They don't wrap guys up. They try to knock them out of bounds by flying into them. And when you're 5'8" and 165 pounds, and you fly into a guy that's 6'2" and 220, you're going to lose. So you've got to hit the guy and wrap him up. At least try to grab his legs, but you're not going to be able to go shoulder into his upper body and knock him over.
Yeah, you're not. Brandon Marshall is not going to be stopped that way.
Now, Brandon Marshall's not going to get past Woodson, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, we can talk about it right now. Why isn't that going to happen?
He doesn't need to get past him. He just needs to jump over. Kind of, he can just jump higher.
He's got the height, but Woodson's got the smarts. He's been around the game long enough.
He does. He does. In fact, I have him as one of my, on my defense. He's a real pro. So. I would not underestimate him if I was Cutler.
Marshall's not going to get skunked by any stretch of the imagination. He's going to catch the ball. He's going to get some yardage. But as long as he's got Woodson over there, he's not going to blow by him for the end zone. Our other corners, the Packer pass defense is pretty much based on the fact that we flush the quarterback and get to him. And when you only got one guy doing that, and Clay Matthews, it was a problem last year. That's why we dropped so bad. Clay Matthews really missed having Ryan Pickett in the middle tying things up. Yeah. So we'll see. It's a work in progress.
All right, Neil, let's get to our waiver wire wackiness here. Moving on, a few of the people have already been mentioned. I already mentioned at least on my list for waiver wire people to watch for this week. If nobody has him and took him in the league yet, you got to take him now. C.J. Spiller, what a week he had, huh, Neil?
Yeah, and plus he's the man now. I mean, as frightening as that sounds, he's what all we got in Buffalo. Fred Jackson's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks.
3-4 games. Yeah.
So, and then we've already discussed Ogletree on here and given Dallas enough plug time on our show. The other person that is Stephen Hill, I have on my list, the wide receiver on the Jets. He had a pretty incredible week in that high score, incredibly surprisingly high scoring game that the Jets put on last week with good old Tebow time.
Yeah, and see, there you go. That's going to be your guy. That's your downfall right there. Leave him right where he's at. He's not going to do that again this week.
You don't think so? I think he's going to do pretty well.
Well, I think the New York Jets offense still has a lot to prove than just one game. I think that's maybe what Neil's also trying to point to, and I kind of agree with that right now. I think he may be worth a pick if you don't have very good wide receivers, but if you're pretty set there, I wouldn't reach out for him.
I'm the waiver wire wacko, I guess, this week. And then you've got, of course, Pierre Garçon, which the problem with him is he's possibly slightly injured now, and we don't know what. But he, of course, was another person that put up big numbers in Week 1, so we're going to have to see. And the only other person on my list is Kobe Fleener, the tight end of the Colts. I have a feeling, and after watching the Bears-Colts matchup last week, he's going to be dumped to a lot. I don't know what you think.
He went to college with Locker. He's with Luck. He's a safety valve. When things don't look like, okay, for 4 years in college, where is he? Okay, bang. And they got Minnesota this week. That kid's going to go off this week.
Yeah, I definitely think.
He's going to go right down the middle of the field. He'll get probably 60 yards and a touchdown.
What do you think? What do you think picking up Kobe Fleener and playing him this week? What do you think that is on the ball scale, Neil?
Since he is the outlet, I'll put it at middle of the road. But you're also talking about an Indianapolis Colt, so it ranks up there fairly well. I give it a 3, maybe a 3.5 because it is a Colt.
Yeah, hey, I think one of the trends of this show is I'm going to go to you for the ratings. You're the we are the EBERT and SISKEL, and they'd always go to EBERT SISKEL actually to give the final rating. So you're going to be the SISKEL of the show, man.
Is that because of my lack of hair?
Could be.
Okay. All right.
We haven't posted pictures up yet. We're going to have to post one of you now.
Yeah.
So go ahead, man.
I got one for you, and I already have my opinion, but I'm just going to throw the name out there. Austin Colley's coming back to the field.
He's good
what do
to
you
go.
think about that?
Mm-hmm.
For how many games? Let's put an over/under out there for Colley. Is he going to last 2
5.
games? 5? Okay. 5 sounds good. Is that 5. more or less than Matt Bradshaw is going to last in Washington or in the Giants?
New York. Yeah.
I think he's being. I think you're being a little nice to him there. I think it's going to be about 3 games, Mr. Injury-prone Colley there. Yeah, Bradshaw. What is the over/under on Bradshaw? Are we giving him about 3 games, 5 games too? Where's everybody putting him?
I've got him at less than half the season. They've got to teach that. I had total brain fart at the moment. They've got to teach that kid to hang on to the ball, Wilson.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Still learning. And, he didn't hang on to it in college, so he's not going to hang on to it in the pros.
Yeah.
But he's going to be in there when Bradshaw goes down.
Mr. Negative Points last week. He was our guy that we were saying was all hot, and he just let us down. But you never know. He might get hot 2 or 3 games. Maybe they spray some stickum on his gloves, and you never know.
Well, it's like I said, you didn't draft him to play last week. You drafted him as a handcuff for Ahmad Bradshaw because you knew Bradshaw was going down. So anything you would have gotten, it would have been a bonus last week anyway. So
give us a few more. You have any more waiver wire picks there?
Like I said, I ran down the joys about being off work injuries. You have a lot of time to watch a lot of television. You got Spiller covered. MJT's coming back.
Yeah.
Dwyer in Pittsburgh.
How about Brandon LaFell from Carolina?
What about him? Tell us about him, Cash.
Yeah, he didn't.
He's a good option to Steve Smith. Plays opposite Steve Smith. He had something like 6 catches for 80 yards last week, and I think he was targeted like about somewhere around 9 times. And I think as people converge on Smith still had a very good game. He would be one person I would look to. Though there's also they have of course a great passing, a very good pass catching tight end and the former Chicago Bear Greg Olsen, but he could be getting some looks as well too. And like I said, I still like what's his name, Alshon Jeffrey of the Bears, who I think is going to do some wonders for them this year.
It'll be interesting to see what he does tonight if he's made part of the mix again. Again, I agree with you, Neil. Way too early in the season to start playing pinball with especially your receivers, because we all know receivers can be very erratic. They can go on one game and be the guy that he was that the defense just let go, or that the quarterback just looked to all that game, and then for the next 3 games he might get 1 or 2 catches. So I if there's one position in fantasy football that I always think is the uneasiest one when you're making your choices, is wide receiver.
Yeah. The only sure way to score points out of the Packers receivers is put them all in your lineup in the same game.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get skunked 2 out of the 3, but at least you'll get one guy that's going to go off, and you'll have him in your lineup at that time.
Yeah. Same thing with the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. Which Patriots tight end do you want to play this week?
Exactly. That's what I was looking at all the quote unquote analysis on all of the sites, and they're getting. Everybody has hard-ons for tight ends now, and they have, after Gronk went crazy last season, everybody is. This is the year of the tight end, and there's going to be a lot of dipping and dunking. Yeah, and that's the problem. It works the same way as wide receivers. You're going to have one guy get hot one game, and then for the next 2 or 3 games, he's going to cool off, and they're going to choose somebody else. So it's as bad as having running back by committee almost.
Well, you know what you got is it's Antonio Gates syndrome, Tony Gonzalez. You've got college recruiters now who are looking at the basketball teams going, dude, look at this. You're in a sport called basketball.
Yep.
There's 100 kids going. There's 5 people on the roster. Most of those rosters are set. The odds are you're not going to make the team. I think you should play football. Huger league. You're going to make some decent money, and teams play 2 or 3 of you on a roster. So you should probably try some football so you can learn how to block. And that's where these football player tight ends are old basketball players. They've got the skills to box out and catch a ball. They have the ability to catch a ball. They're really taught how to block occasionally.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. Cool. We need to move on. We're running out of time. Cash, you're welcome to hang, but we're going to get to business on injuries.
No problem.
And on we need to actually get to our Big Balls Challenge and find out which one of us won last week. So I'm gonna put you in the background here, and we're gonna get down to business. But I wanted to thank you for calling. For how's the weather there in Dallas today?
Oh, it's terrific. We're getting to moving on to better weather out here after a hot summer. It's roughly in the 80s. It's perfect. It's terrific. Let me just give a quick shout out to my sister-in-law Sarah, who just had her birthday yesterday. Happy birthday! And Greg, it was great talking to you again after a while, and love to be on again. And Neil, it's great meeting you. Good luck tonight, but not the best of luck. And but hopefully both our teams will come out injury-free. So.
Yeah, that's the big one. Thanks for calling. Thanks to Jolene's cell phone problems. You are officially our first caller. Greg will have your gift in the mail to you. You'll be impressed with that Big Balls Fantasy Show could send you for a trophy. So
yeah,
keep away from the kids.
Are you kidding? I need to pray that somebody saves me a seat over at the Tin Horn, which will be doubtful, but I'm hauling ass up there to try and get there at least for the first quarter. Well, thanks for calling, Cash. We're gonna move it on. Alrighty, man.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Cool.
Bye.
All right, Neil. Let's get.
Okay.
Should we get the injuries out of the way so we can get to our challenge, or how you want to work this, man?
Yeah, run down the injuries. Hit up the highlights on. Most of the star players that you thought were going to play that aren't or are doubtful at this current stage.
Yeah, I got it. I got the really fast rundown here. John Skelton, of course, quarterback of Arizona, is going to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a sprained ankle. The only reason this might have any fantasy impact on you, because if you have him as your starter, I really feel sorry for you, is Larry Fitzgerald's production might go down. We all know about Fred Jackson, the wide receiver in Buffalo. We all know that whole situation. So, if you got Spiller and you got him in your draft, like one of the crazy women in my work draft, I mean, good for you. Jonathan Stewart, Panthers, we all know that whole situation. He's injured or he's not injured. He's injured or he's not injured. The thing is, he allegedly is coming back this week, and you might, if you need to play him in a flex position, desperately play him because D'Angelo Williams actually ran for -1 yard last week, and the entire running squad without him ran for 10 yards for the Panthers last week, so they might be looking for him to be the hero. Neil, you know about Greg Jennings, don't you?
Yeah, I haven't watched TV in the last 40 minutes, but there's no need to play him. If I was the Packers, yeah, Greg wants to go because it's the game. But you know what? There's another one later this year, and there are another 14 coming up. You don't want to aggravate a groin, or you might be hobbling all year long. They've actually got rumors stirring and fan base talking about the fact that he's basically been injured. End of last season, the concussion he got during the family scrimmage, the injury now, and the fact that he's in his contract year, they're saying, hey, trade this guy while he's still gold and get something for him instead of letting him go in free agency. So that's interesting in Packerland, but we'll see how that all plays out. But tonight he sits. Even if he goes on the field tonight, he is not in your roster. Don't do it.
Right. Put in Cobb, put in Nelson. You've got even James Jones as an option. Over to Philadelphia, you have Macklin with this nagging hip injury. He has yet to be completely ruled out of the game against Baltimore, but it might not be looking good. You need to keep your eye on him. He's going to be one of those game-time decisions that we all hate in fantasy football. Jake Locker, huh? Mr. Bionic Man, eh, Neil? Your guy, Jake Locker over there in Tennessee.
Hey, he is my pony, and we'll get to it later. He did lose the challenge to RG3. However, he is getting a contract from the WWE when his football season's over after that beautiful takedown.
Yeah.
Your quarterback does a body slam on a dude. I got a feeling that when he was putting ice on his shoulder, the trainers kept jabbing his fingers and going, never do that again. And in film said they kept smacking him on the arm going, what are you never going to do again? Let's roll that back and never do that again. Just smack him with a ruler like an old Catholic nun.
Exactly. Wow. Yeah, but he will be playing this week, allegedly, so and it's actually looking pretty good. Over to Washington, Pierre Garçon, forced to leave the game in the first half because of a foot injury. They're keeping an eye on him. He's had foot injury problems and issues in the past. He did not practice on Wednesday. I have him in one of my lineups, but I am that game isn't, of course, until the weekend, and I'm going to keep a close eye on it. According to Rich Campbell of the Washington Times, he didn't play in practice yesterday or today. And finally, MJD fans get to rejoice, don't they, Neil?
Yeah, back on the field. He had his little trial run last week, and apparently it was successful. So we'll see MJD back out there. One thing that I caught, trying to keep it on the down low, Megatron didn't go through practice on Wednesday with a foot problem.
Yeah.
Now, supposedly he practiced today, and he's back out there, and of course he's going to be playing on Sunday, but undisclosed foot problems, Madden curse, you better line his backup up. Put him on the back burner of your roster spot you're not using, because Megatron is not going to last the year thanks to John Madden.
Maybe his girlfriend pissed him off and she put down her stiletto heel into his foot or something.
There's a possibility. You just never know.
I want to get back to MJD really fast. The reason that people that picked him up really can rejoice is running back Rashard Jennings has gone down with a knee injury and is going to be out for a few weeks. So basically, he is the guy now there. So it's a good thing he got his trial run because now he's going to get to run like crazy. And everybody that was sketchy on picking him up and wondering how far some leagues like in mine let him drop to the second round are going to be really eating crow right now when he starts taking off, I think. Especially because he's pissed off because he doesn't have a contract. He'll be pulling the Matt Forte game of last season that my Bears had to put up with. So, we have 15 minutes. Let's get to the challenge. Hey, dude?
That sounds good to me.
You're the statistician, so...
So, of course, I won. No, strangely enough, it was kind of fun because we don't have your usual standard scoring system. It's based loosely on it. So I can't just go to a website and figure out, okay, blah, 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 where's this, where's that. I actually took out a newspaper and looked at stats and kept track of who did what and everything else. It's kind of hard to find fumbles, so we may have a...
What's a newspaper?
San Diego Tribune.
You didn't look it up on your iPad? No? You actually opened up a paper newspaper?
iPad?
We don't have that kind of budget here on the Big Balls Fantasy Football Show.
Yeah, this is old school. This is where you learn. You just take it out of the paper and hope there wasn't a misprint. Anyway, no, you did win the first week, so you have a 1-game advantage. RG3 has 20. What's that?
I was going to say, yeah, give us the rundown.
Yeah, the Pony's got 22 points. Walker came in with 10 after his brief appearance, but I said he's getting a WWE contract, so have fun with that one. Who would have been your star? That stretch pick of yours, Bram at tight end. Yeah, he went like in the first, second round of most drafts because he was top tight end, top receiver. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's the one that was your main scorer outside of RG3.
Really?
Yeah, Meacham actually did surprisingly well. No touchdowns, but some good yardage.
Go down the entire lineup for both of us, so we know.
I didn't break down that far. I realized we left out some defensive statistics, and I was like, oh yeah, I forgot there's different things we could have used, like points surrendered, yardage surrendered. We'll get this worked out, listeners. I know you all don't give a crap. The fact is, I won. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Yeah, when based on the fact that no matter how you cut it down, the scoring system was equal. You still won, and congratulations, week 1. Yeah. And now we're going to the week 2 lineups.
Right, which is what really counts. And the reason we're doing this challenge is not just to self-flagellate ourselves. The reason we're doing this challenge is not only are you getting our injury report, not only are you getting our waiver wire pickups, but these balls picks are like a lineup you should possibly be playing at least half of each week because, like I said, somebody in my league, I still can't believe this, played C.J. Spiller and just went for 140 points total with him and Peyton Manning, and it drove me insane. So let's get down to it. Let's get down to what's your lineup this week, man?
I thought about that when you told me you were ready. We should probably have a pre-production meeting so we don't have the same players, but
just go through them, man. We'll work it out.
I'm going to take Andrew Luck against the Viking defense because they're the Viking defense.
Exactly. And let's just go back to back so everybody knows mano a mano. I have my pony RG3 that I'm going to take to the promised land. So
you're going to keep riding him every week, huh? Okay. You're still going to get points for him, but because we're going to go pony on pony, but he also counts in your line, so you're going to score double for him this week.
All right.
Whatever he gets, we'll score for your team, and we'll also keep your pony total running.
Nice. All right.
Okay.
So who's your running back, man?
Not much of a stretch. I'm going to pull the Greg card here. I'm going with Darren Sproles. The reason that I would consider him to be a ballsier pick, he's not a mainline back. He's a multi-purpose back, a third down back, and New Orleans is outdoors. We're traditionally slower. So you might think about sitting him down just because of that fact. Don't do it. Darren Sproles is going to be your man this week.
I hear you. I have him on one of my teams, and I'm playing him this week. I'm going mano a mano with you on the same kind of a pick. I'm going with my Bears. I'm going with Michael Bush this week. Another third down line back. It was really great last week, and since we are big balls, I know we're a quote-unquote family show here, but the wonderful thing about Tin Horn last week was all you fans out there of the movie Revenge of the Nerds, of course, know the famous scene where it's "We got Bush." Well, it was so great all game to hear, "Let's get Bush, let's get Bush, let's get Bush."
Well, and I've since the first show, the draft show, said get Michael Bush. He's going to be the goal line sniper from Forte, and I was proved right.
Yes,
I didn't take him this week, so I figured I'd lay him out there for you being the Bears fan. And there's balls and then there's balls, and I just could not put a Bear on my roster this week.
Yeah.
It ain't going to happen. In fact, this week is fantasy gold. I'm looking at the matchups going, okay, this team really sucks in this position. Who am I going to put at running back again? Oh, wow, they've already got a real big mismatch. So I'm not going to do that. So there's going to be some big points scored this week in fantasy football. So moving on, though. I'm on the Randall Cobb bandwagon at wide receiver. Ballsy, only because he came off the waiver wire. He was too far down the Packer draft. What do they call that thing where they have all the players lined up in order? Yeah, that.
The pick.
The depth chart. He was too far down the depth chart for me. And the advantage Cobb has over Jones, Jones got the TD last week. They got an equal number of looks. You're going to find Cobb can actually catch. Jones has problems hanging on to a football. So I went with Randall Cobb this week as my receiver.
And as you said, you could basically spin a roulette wheel and put all of the damn players on there and spin it after Jennings. So it's really not going to – you can pick – it's a ballsy pick because you don't know which one he's going to choose this game. I am going with my waiver wire wacko pick of the week. I am going with Ogletree.
Good pick.
I'm hoping that he isn't just a one-week wonder and that he's, as you say, taken over for Laurent Robinson, where that position has worked on that team. So they're going to keep going to that, and that's how they're going to write up their plays.
Yeah, I honestly don't think so. Ogletree is the one guy that you could put up on your roster even after a great draft in week one. You got somebody hiding in the back. You like fill the spot with let's draft this guy for my 17th pick or whatever. Dump that guy for Ogletree. You won't go wrong. This kid he's going to fool all the experts. I mean, between the two of us, the supposed ones on NFL Network, and we'll talk about that if we have a quick time to wrap up. I should probably talk a little, not faster, but more succinctly. Tight end, I took Fleener to go with Luck.
You suck.
Did I steal your dude?
Yeah, but good.
It's hard to find a backup tight end, too.
Oh, dude.
You know what?
You know what it proves? That the fact that we both picked him, that's a balls pick, man.
All right, well, I guess I predict this week we're going to be tied on tight end points.
Well, I can't have the same guy, right?
Well, technically no, but had you chosen the tight end first, I'd be the one going, oh, now what am I going to do?
No, it's okay. I got another one. Since you got to go that way, I'm just going to throw Fred Davis in there. What the hell?
Okay, that works.
Yeah.
Easy like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much balls, but since you got, your ball stick was taken away, you get to choose from the tree. And, we'll see what RG3 does. Does he stay the poised RG3 or does he take off running this week?
Exactly.
It was only week one last week. He might have a better defense or some more tape on him where they went, oh, he likes to do that? Okay, well, don't let him roll out to the right. That was the Michael Vick defense. Don't let him go right or force him right something. Anyway, okay.
We all aren't griffining yet, are we?
What's that?
You heard about the horrible griffining?
Oh, yeah. He was sitting on his arse because he slipped and he gave a touchdown signal. Now people are sitting on their butts in the middle of intersections raising their hands up.
Exactly.
It's not griffining.
It's also not very ballsy to be on your back.
No, in fact, I'm into Ogletree's thing. He was doing the CO with his hands. Like, what's that all about? Well, I guess his older brother was seriously injured or something, or possibly even killed it. And I couldn't be killed, but he was his inspiration to get a life and make something of himself. And after 4 years languishing in the NFL, he came out last week, and that's where the little CO thing comes from that he does.
He deserves it, man. Cool. Let's move on to kicker.
I'm going to go with New England's defense against Arizona. Sure, it's Arizona, so where's the balls there? New England was one of the worst defenses in the league last year. and I believe they're improved. Plus, you also have Arizona traveling all the way to the East Coast.
Who's your kicker?
What's that?
Who's your kicker?
My kicker is Nate Kading.
He was my second pick. I had a feeling you'd take him because he's local and because he completely went off last week after being.
Yeah, I have no faith whatsoever in San Diego's offense to get in the end zone, so you can kick a lot of field goals. It's the home opener, the start of the season, the game to be of all games. It's not sold out yet.
Oh, God.
I may not be able to watch the Chargers on television on Sunday. You believe that?
Jeez.
That's just simply amazing.
Well, that's why
anyway,
they might be maybe why they might be the LA Chargers real soon. All right.
At least we'll get them on TV then.
Exactly. You know, we'll get the West Coast preference. I am going for my defense. I'm going with the Jets against Pittsburgh, and the reason is while watching that piss poor running display, and you have a problem there. Are they going to play Mendenhall? Is he well enough? If he gets in, is he going to do well enough? Chip's calling in.
Yeah. Hey, first time call, last time canine. Yeah. How's it going, Doug?
Hey, that's our mascot there, Chip, the ballsiest dog ever. But the reason I'm taking him is you had Redmond, who was primed in the position to go off and did nothing. And it was just so sad to watch. And the Jets, their defense did pretty damn well last week. So I'm expecting Pittsburgh to get held up by them. And at kicker, I am going with a really, really strange but ballsy pick. I'm going with Matt Bryant over in Atlanta because they are playing Denver and they are playing Peyton. So they might not get a lot of points, but they are playing in Denver, and that means they're playing in the, light air, so to speak. So longer kicks.
Yeah, I like that just because I honestly do not trust Roethlisberger to be a 40-pass game thrower.
No.
He is a handoff with the guy's grinding out quarterback that will occasionally throw the ball to keep you off balance. Mm-hmm. So you put the game in his hands. I know I'm going to really irritate a lot of Pittsburgh fans. I don't see Roethlisberger as that quarterback.
No, you saw what happened.
He's a great game manager. He's got a Super Bowl rings, but I don't see him as a guy who can throw the ball 50 times a game.
He is a good player when he has Hines Ward and Wallace and Antonio Holmes and all of these weapons to throw to, and now that's depleted, and now the running game is just a question mark, so I don't think they're going anywhere. Well, we're out of time, dude. We made it.
Yeah, let me leave you one quick hit of knowledge. Remember last week you were talking Kevin Smith, and I said, oh, yeah, the director, the guy that did Mallrats. And I pulled the Mallrats movie out of my head, out of 7 or 8 Kevin Smith movies. It was just the first one that flew in there. So today I'm watching NFL Network, and one of the guys pipes up and goes, oh, yeah, Kevin Smith, the director, could probably do that, too. There's no discounting Mallrats. And Mallrats is arguably, among Kevin Smith, the director fans, one of his worst movies. So I think we have a spot on NFL Network.
I think
and
we do.
I do appreciate the knowledge. I'm glad you're getting it from us. I don't need credit, but I'm gonna come up with some better one-liners. If the NFL Network's going to be stealing my one-liners, I got to come up with some better ones.
If we hear one of them say, now that's a big balls pick, we're going to sue. Anyway, I'm Greg, the Chicago fan. Go Bears this week.
I'm Neil, PROST, and hey, it's Go Pack Go, and it's game on. Get your arse to Tin Horn. Hopefully Jolene saved you a seat. Mine's right upstairs waiting to roll, and we'll be back next week with more Big Balls Fantasy Football.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Good night, man.
Later.
Your balls are showing. There are 2 types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. Dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls down there? That's the biggest berry you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, I play with these bulls all day.
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.